Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Tuesday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Tuesday?
I'm good, but boy, it was a tough week.
Yeah.
A tough week.
Hey, you ended up actually being above 500. I hit 500.
9-7, but
again,
not very good.
Although I will say, I'll say one thing. Monday Night Football, I think Joe Buck said it. It might have been Joe Buck, or I think it might have been Troy Aikman, where he gave out the Tua stat. He's 0-5 and under 40-degree weather. I know that was false because they just played against the New York Jets. That was like, what, 28 degrees, 38 degrees, something like that. So
they won that game.
Yeah, they won that game. So it was false. But, we got a lot to talk about today because Week 15 was certainly something. A lot of big-time moves happened in terms of playoff standings, and obviously that's what everybody's talking about nowadays because one big team with one big player got eliminated, and it was unfortunately and ended with an ACL tear, but that is the topic we're starting with today, which is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They did fall to the Los Angeles Chargers, ending on a game-sealing interception. Mahomes tearing his ACL. It is very rough for the Kansas City Chiefs. This entire season, not being able to figure it out offensively and defensively. Coaching was weird. Special teams was off. Nothing was going right this entire season, and it ends with Mahomes and the Chiefs being eliminated after only 15 weeks of the NFL season. And of course, as people normally do, they came with the Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes comparisons in the amount of years they played in the NFL and both their teams missing the playoffs and whatnot, although it's two completely different contexts, but that's beside the point. But after this loss, after, Mahomes getting eliminated after losing in the Super Bowl badly to the Eagles just last year in this past February, do you think that the Chiefs dynasty is officially deceased?
Well, my takeaway from this game, with the loss to the Chargers, the Chiefs are officially eliminated from the postseason. Unlike last year, the inability to win the close games was the reason. And they just couldn't win the close game this year. And I think that is their dynasty over? I think that if Mahomes can't come back from ACL, which I'm pretty sure he will. I mean, the surgeries, they have that down now. They've done so many. I'm sure
it's also already been done.
It's already been done.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's on the recovery path already, and I'm pretty sure he'll fully recover. So as long as they have him, I don't think you can ever say that the Chiefs are done. I mean, that they're not going to be competitive. I think they'll find a way to be competitive. They have an ownership that has gotten used to winning a lot. This must sting a lot to not even make the playoffs and be eliminated in Week 15 of an 18-week season. I think that stings a lot with their ownership and their fans, and I think they'll do some things to get back in the game. Now, will people like Travis Kelce retire? I don't know. He might. I mean, he's up there in age now. Played pretty well in this game, and he's played pretty well this season, but he's been talking about retirement for the last couple of years. Now that he's not even going to make the playoffs, will he hang it up? I'm not sure. He might. So a lot of question marks with the Chiefs. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't write them off totally at this point. I think they're going to find a way to come back. They had some bad injuries. Their offensive line, that new guy Campbell, he got hurt, and and their wide receiver core has been spotty. They got to find a way to run the ball. I mean, they have running backs. They rarely have a good running stats. They're just they need to they ought to draft a running back maybe. That ought to be something they ought to look into. They got a lot to do. They have a lot to do, and now I think it's a wake up call for them, not even making the playoffs. And I wouldn't write them off totally just yet.
Well, I think that's fair because you do have a Hall of Fame quarterback. Probably, absolutely, Mahomes is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. You have a team that just went on arguably one of the greatest 7-year runs in NFL history, but that's just what happens. The run's over. You lost in the Super Bowl, and now you're missing the playoffs. And I also don't think it's fair to say, well, it's the comparison of the Brady missing the playoffs and whatnot, which, by the way, 2002, and here's why I think that the GOAT debate, it just got significantly more hard for Patrick Mahomes to actually surpass Brady in the quote-unquote close GOAT debate. Yes, is he the closest to surpassing Brady for being the GOAT? Yes, he is the closest. The Super Bowl rings, the early success, the dominant AFC conference, just 7-year run they just went on. But this just got significantly harder because Brady beat him 2 times in the playoffs. remember that one time N'Keal Harry stepped out of bounds, could have been 3 times total. Also beat him in the regular season when the Chiefs were 5-0 at the time. So Brady has a lot of success over Patrick Mahomes, and when it matters in the Super Bowl and AFC Championship game, Brady outmatched him, outplayed him, and beat him. But we do have to realize we have to look at what each team was. We can't really argue about where Patrick Mahomes fell and all of a sudden say, well, he doesn't have a good wide receiver core. He started his career with one of the greatest offensive head coaches of all time, a Hall of Fame tight end, but at the time a very, very good tight end in Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill, a super speedster, and at the time was a pretty good returnman. You know who Brady had last time he won the Super Bowl early in his career before missing the playoffs? Or I guess after 2002. David Gibbons, David Patton, and Deion Branch. Those were his top 3 receivers, which, by the way, 874 yards, 800 yards, and 454 yards. Travis Kelce's dropping 1,200-yard games. Tyreek Hill is the fastest man alive with pads on. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. Yes, is his wide receiver core a little bit diminished? Sure. But they also had a significantly higher skill set, higher just overall potential than David Gibbons, David Patton, Deion Branch, and Daniel Graham, the tight end. So, again, and also Brady had a defensive head coach. So I think it's not really fair to be like, well, you know, at this point in Mahomes' career versus this point in Brady's career, we can't say that. We can't say that. Now, will this be the 10-year gap between Mahomes and Brady where, you know, Brady didn't make the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl for 10 years? Maybe. But we have to look at this Chiefs team. What did they do well this year? Go down the list. Running. No, one of the worst in the NFL besides Mahomes running the football, but they had a losing record. I don't believe they won a single game with Mahomes being the leading rusher. We take a look at the defense. What was the defense? The defense was not terrible, but it didn't generate a consistent pass rush outside of Chris Jones. So I could say, not that great of a defense. How about passing game-wise? Well, Mahomes, I think we could safely say Mahomes didn't have a very good year this year. It was kind of average. And especially if we're talking about the GOAT debate and having those high standards in today's NFL, Mahomes put up a very early 2000s, 1990s good stat line. 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, 11 picks. But in today's NFL, is that the GOAT? Is that Brady 2.0? No. And I think that this is something that a lot of quarterbacks have to overcome. Justin Herbert, everybody puts him in the top 10 and sometimes even in the top 5. And we have to acknowledge that early in his career, didn't have a good defense. Their defense gave up the most points and the most yards in the first 3 years of a quarterback's career. And Herbert put up the most passing yards and the most points in the first 3 years offensively of his career. So that's what Herbert went through. We could add context all over, but I think ultimately is the Chiefs' dynasty over? This phase of it is, and that's okay to say. It doesn't mean that the Chiefs are, you know, like you said, not going to make the playoffs ever again. They won't be competitive, but this team needs some serious retooling. They need a running game. They need to get rid of Juwan Taylor. They need a better left tackle situation, although Joe Simmons is not bad, just banged up a little bit. You got to get a new guard. I know he's a year 2 guy, Sua Mataia, but I feel like you got to get a better guard at that spot. You have Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey on the right side in the middle of your offensive line. You need a better pass rusher than just Chris Jones. You need another Chris Jones level type of pass rusher. And really secondarily, I mean, your secondary was ranked 14th in the league.
Yeah.
So you need a lot of retooling. And if you have to make this many moves, you could say it's a low-key rebuild. Because retooling is just adding pieces. Like, for instance, after the Super Bowl loss against the Bucs, the Chiefs just rebuilt their offensive line. They didn't rebuild the team. You have to do a lot of rebuilding for the team in this postseason, or offseason, I should say.
No, I agree. And I think that, the Chiefs have fallen a long way. I mean, they were playing for a third consecutive Super Bowl championship last year. They got blown out by the Eagles, and It's all been downhill since then.
Right.
And now they aren't even making the playoffs this year, which is a sigh of relief for many other teams out there, particularly the Buffalo Bills.
If they don't win the Super Bowl, people should be fired. It is unacceptable for you not to have Joe Burrow, possibly Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes to not be even in the playoff hunt, not even in the race, not even in the top 7, and you somehow don't make the Super Bowl. That would be the biggest embarrassment for Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the pressure's on them now. They played like a Super Bowl team against the Patriots, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
That was a great comeback. Down 21-0, and in the second half, shutting down the Patriots offense, only holding them to 10 points, and then you putting up 35 points. It was a phenomenal comeback for Buffalo. But I would say that Mahomes and the Chiefs, they'll be back. In what form? We'll have to wait and see. Because what will Mahomes look like? I'm sure he's going to push to be back for, week 1 of the NFL season. It is a 9-month recovery, give or take. It's rough to be, that injured this late in the year because we saw, it's not exactly the same, but Deshaun Watson with the Achilles, he tore his Achilles and then during the offseason tore it again and has missed this entire year, basically. Yeah. And he wasn't even really projected to make the start of the season.
I think a torn ACL is a tough injury to come back from, and if he does start week 1, you're not going to see him out there running around like he has been this year.
Well, if we remember,
they're going to have to get a decent running game.
Right.
They're going to have to admit that they have an issue there and that Mahomes can't carry the team running the ball, particularly after coming back from an ACL injury. They're going to have to protect him next year. He's going to have to be more of a drop-back passer. They're going to have to protect him.
Well, if we remember, Mahomes got hurt on a QB sneak earlier in his career. He hurt his ankle or whatever. It was against the Browns. We've never seen him do a QB sneak since. But because he's had to be Superman for the Chiefs at times where the running game has been nothing, you can't force feed Kareem Hunt 30 times like they did against the Indianapolis Colts. Mahomes has needed to be that leading rusher, and obviously it makes him more prone to hits. I mean, he got absolutely blasted. He tears his ACL in this game against the Chargers. So he was under duress all game, 50% pressure rate in this one. He didn't trust his offensive line. A lot of times you saw him staring down instead of looking down the field. I feel like, Travis Kelce, he is on his last legs. Yeah, he had a good game in this one, 7 catches, 70 yards. But the game prior, he was throwing the game away. I think he had 5 targets, 1 catch, 2 drops or something like that, and a couple bad drops. I mean, that looks like
a bobble ball for an interception that cost him a game.
Right, yeah, at the very end, exactly. Yeah. And that looked like a broken down football play. That looked like Gronk did in 2018, where you just don't use him because you can't use him. He's so banged up and bruised, and you can't put him out there for blocking like you could with Gronk because he's not the blocker Gronk was. So his effectiveness is Mahomes' security blanket offensively throwing the football. And when he's dropping passes and not being reliable, and you already contemplated retirement last year, saying he's had 10 surgeries. Going into this one, he said he's going to think about it until March. I think your mind could be made up now. You're out of the race. You're done. And your quarterback's gone.
You know what? Another thing with the Chiefs, 10 years of playing more games than anybody else. So playoff and generally getting to the Super Bowl.
Right.
It takes a toll on the players.
Absolutely.
It takes a big toll on the players, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it. You can't just sustain that. So, we'll see what happens. I agree with you. It's not a total rebuild, but there's a lot that has to be worked on for them.
100%. 7 straight AFC Championship games or Super Bowls. They never missed the AFC Championship game since Mahomes became the full starter. So, at some point, you take a look at even NBA Finals. 82 games, then you played, 22 games or something like that for the NBA playoffs. Then you got to come back and do it again the next year. That's why what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing is so great. You just win the NBA Finals. Now you've lost, 2 games all year so far? So it's that type of just pure exhaustion of having to play 20-plus games 20-plus NFL games.
The game they lost against San Antonio was a kind of a big loss for them.
That was a huge loss. NBA Cup. The Spurs look pretty good.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama coming back from his injury, so I have him on my fantasy team. But, they need a lot of retooling. They need to work on their secondary. They need to work on their defensive line. Their offensive line needs a lot of work. They don't have a running game. You may need a tight end. That might be something you have to go into the draft thinking about. Yeah. Is Noah Gray going to be your tight end 1? I don't know if that's the right option for them.
It's going to be hard to fix it all in 1 year. We'll have to see what happens, particularly with Mahomes coming back on one wheel for a while.
Yeah. Well, what I think we should expect is I don't see Mahomes being the runner, the back-breaking runner, at least in the regular season. Will he do it in the playoffs? Money on the line,
Well, by then he'll have most of the season. He'll have a season under his belt, so he'd be ready for that if he can do it. We'll have to wait and see.
All I know is that the last 3 years, this Chiefs team, yes, they won the Super Bowl in one of them, but they just went 11-0 in one-score games. They're 1-7 in one-score games this year.
Well, that's what I said.
That's what happens. You flip-flop. Yeah.
They can't win the close. They didn't win the close one. That was the reason.
Exactly. That's what we saw with Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings in 2022. 11-0 one-score games. You go up in the playoffs against Daniel Jones and lose. You can't. You go 11-0 one-score games. There has to be some luck or some bad luck on the other side. Last year, the blocked field goal for Bo Nix and the Broncos. The Chiefs block a field goal. You have Isaiah Likely's toe is out of bounds. You have a missed pass interference calling Kyle Pitts for the game-winning touchdown. There were a lot of games where you're like, Well, if you just flip it, the Chiefs are a below 500 team last year, but they were able to make the Super Bowl. And then what we saw is in the playoffs, the Texans, some terrible calls. The Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen doing 7 QB sneaks to the same side and being very, very lackluster in that because it was the same thing. Going up against, and then the Super Bowl, the Eagles defense just shutting down the offensive line of the Chiefs and making Mahomes look really, really pedestrian. And that's kind of what we saw this season. The Chiefs' offensive line, not great, battered and bruised, no running game. The wide receiver core, what are you going to do? There was no vertical threat. It was Tyquan Thornton for the longest time. How about the guy you drafted to be the guy who ran 4.2 in Xavier Worthy? So it was a weird thing. And, there's clips out there of Andy Reid doing the same play over and over again in different games. It's like, where's the creativity? He's still a great coach, a phenomenal coach. I don't see him being on the hot seat anytime soon because you just made 7 straight AFC Championship games. At least do the Belichick thing, and if you make it 4-13 for a couple years, then we could talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's a ways off.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. All right, you want to jump into it? You want to go to 30 seconds? But let's jump right into it. As always, every single week throughout the NFL season on Tuesdays, we do our the Harvey, what do we call this? The weekly report. That's what I call it. The Harvey Herald. This is where you headline and break down every single NFL game throughout each week on Sunday, Monday, and sometimes Thursday. We got a lot of games to talk about, 16 games to be exact. So let's begin.
We just talked about one.
We just talked about one of them. So we'll get through that. But let's start with the first one, which was Thursday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And the headline, Kirk Cousins emerges again to beat the Bucs. He has their number, man. He's been beating them regularly. He's 3-0 against them. He should have been starting earlier in the year, but would have beat him again another time. So my headline here is Kirk Cousins should have been the starter the entire season. Because he didn't, it makes Raheem Morris look like a heathen. And I think that Kirk Cousins, he's going to play the rest of the season. He'll probably play really well. And then they're going to have to decide what are they going to do next year. There'll be a fight to see who's going to be the starter. They're paying him a ton of money. Why not let him compete and start?
Because that's what they should have done this year. But they said from the get-go, no, Penix is our guy. You paid him $100 million guaranteed to be your backup, and he's coming in. And by the way, I think you only need to put him up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because the last 2 years against the Bucs, Kirk Cousins is 3-0. 9 yards an attempt, 73% completion percentage, 386 passing yards a game, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. So what Kirk Cousins has done against the Bucs has been incredible.
He was 30 of 44, 373 yards, and 3 TDs in this game.
Yeah, no, he was incredible. Absolutely. He had a 500-yard game in overtime. So what is he able to do?
Bijan Robinson well at 19 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. And he had 8 catches for 82 yards. They knew how to use him in this game, and it showed.
Absolutely.
And poor Tampa Bay, man, Bowles at the end of the game, in the post-game,
Todd Bowles was hot.
Berserk.
He was hot.
Yeah. Let me read a quote from him.
Sure.
He says, let's see. He says, Bucs coach Todd Bowles said in an expletive-laden reaction, "You got to bleep care enough when the bleep hurts. It's got to bleeping mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your bleeping livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well do you know your job? You can't sugarcoat that bleep."
Yeah.
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
Yeah. Hey. I mean, and what's interesting is that I know who he's talking about. Because it's the same reason that
the secondary.
Not only is the secondary, one of their guys they brought over that already had issues, Hassan Reddick. Vita Vea was going after Hassan Reddick. If we remember, where was he on the Jets? Oh wait, he didn't show up. That big thing between Hassan Reddick and the Jets. I think they traded Bryce Huff and a draft pick or something like that to go get Hassan Reddick, and he didn't show up. Yeah. They wouldn't give him the contract, so. It looks like he has issues over in Tampa Bay as well. And Mike Evans banging his helmet, while going to the locker room saying that you're up a lot. I understand.
Bowles said he's one who cares.
Oh, absolutely.
And he sure did. He came back from a broken collarbone.
Over 100 yards receiving.
6 catches, 132 yards. Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, no. And you look at that game, you realize that, the defense is what cost him in this one. I mean, Baker Mayfield did have some overthrows and some missed throws.
That interception he threw, I'm sorry. He said it's on me.
Absolutely.
He said that loss is on me. It's not on the defense. I take full responsibility for it.
Well,
And
that's what you want your franchise quarterback to do.
should,
Exactly.
Yeah, leader should do. But he's got to figure it out here. I mean, they should still win the division. I mean, they're going to go up against the Carolina Panthers here twice.
Yep.
And the Panthers also play, I think, Seattle.
Oh,
so they're probably not going to win that one. So, and the way the Panthers, here's their opportunity to be first in the division for after how many years? A decade, maybe. And they lose to the Saints. Come on, are they real? Are they real or are they pretenders?
Well, think about it. They could, if they beat the Saints, all they need to do was win this upcoming week, and they win the division.
Yeah. Well,
now they have to sweep the Bucs.
Yeah.
Because you're right, they're not beating Seattle, most likely.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. They play in Carolina this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. Well,
so
the Bucs should prevail here and
Should.
get the division win, and I think Bowles was setting the stage for that with his tirade.
I mean, you got to put some life into you guys. Clear, this performance was not a great sign for you. All right, let's go to the next one here, which is the Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. What is your headline for this game?
Josh Allen and the Bills showed the Patriots who's boss for the second half performance that gave the Patriots their third loss. And I was so happy the first half.
Up 21-0.
Up 21-0.
Yeah.
I think the Bills just said, we're going to spot you a 21-point lead, and then we're going to destroy you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. I think they scored on every drive in the second half.
They tend to do that a lot. You look at some of the stats of that playoff game. They scored on every
Josh
drive.
Allen was amazing in this game, and they have 5 touchdowns in the second half, and the poor Patriots. I think they learned something from that game. Are they for real? I'm not so sure. They'll probably face the Bills in the playoffs. Right now, it's 1-1, so it will be the rubber match. And Drake May played okay. It's the defense in the second half. They went to sleep.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop the Bills on anything they did. So, very disappointing.
Well, you look at the numbers out there. The loss of Milton Williams is huge because now the running defense of the Patriots is actually one of the worst in the NFL with Milton Williams out. So having him on IR and missing a lot of time is not great. I thought there were a couple of good playmakers. So I thought Christian Ellis played another pretty good game as well. I thought, he was a big-time playmaker. It was one of the weirdest officiated games I've ever seen. The defensive pass interference, but also the catch, but could have been the pick on Marcus Jones and I think Shakir. First of all, Shakir never had the football. That's the first thing. Second, Marcus Jones ripped it out. Third, Marcus Jones got his head around while he was also going for the football and then ripped it out.
That was a very bad call.
And they said it was a catch, although you look at it, Marcus Jones had control of the ball as both of them were going down. And again, I'm not saying that's why they lost, but it was just very weird.
Do you
that's
think,
what
though,
happened.
that Marcus Jones interfered with him before the ball got there?
That's hand fighting. I mean, Shakir was pushing him too.
He was kind of
but he got his head around. That's something that everybody points out. You could be hand fighting. You just got to get the head around, which he did.
That was a big play, and it went against the Patriots.
I'll also say early on, Ramondre Stevenson had a couple big-time runs.
Yeah, how about Henderson?
Henderson's great. He had 2 massive touchdown runs, one of which I think went for, 65 yards or something like that?
14 carries, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And here's what's big, though. They didn't do the 1-2 punch. They had Henderson run the ball more, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, they had 246 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And they couldn't beat the Bills. I mean, the Bills are noted for their running game. They were held to 168 yards. So,
But when it mattered, that last touchdown drive, James Cook and the Buffalo Bills offense operated at an extremely high level. I mean, the Patriots give up literally 28 points in 2 quarters. That's unacceptable if you're Mike Vrabel. That's unacceptable if you're that Patriots defense.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen, he does what Josh Allen does. A couple big-time runs and a couple great
28 points
throws.
in the second half for the Bills, 7 for the Patriots.
That's unacceptable. You put up 24 points. 24 points in the first half. You're up 21-0. And you somehow fall apart in the second half.
We'll see. Patriots will probably still win the division. They got a pretty light schedule the rest of the way. But this was their big game, and they lost it.
I completely agree. All right, let's go with the next one, which is the Baltimore Ravens. We had this miss big time. We had both had the Bengals winning this one. So your headline for this game is.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought we were on the Jets.
We're doing the Jets at the next one? Yes, the next one. Let's do the Jets.
Okay. So Trevor Lawrence accounts for 6 TDs en route of the Jets. The summary here, the Jets lose big to the Jags and still do not have an interception. It's obvious under Aaron Glenn, they're still going in the wrong direction. I don't know about the Jets, man. They are. I'm a Patriots fan, thank God. Jets fans, I feel so sorry for you. I mean, wow, this is a very bad season for them. It looked like they were starting to turn the corner. The defense was playing better. They still don't have a quarterback, you know. And that's something that haunts them every year, it seems like. But at least it looked like they were starting to do something. Well, they got blown out here. They've been blown out several times here recently. But didn't they fire their DC?
Yeah, Steve Wilkes was fired.
Yeah. So
well, think about this. You set NFL history in the wrong way. In fact, you've done a lot of record setting this year, but all in the wrong way. You're Justin Fields doing that weird stat of like the Jets did all of this and ended up losing this game. Now you have the longest streak without an interception in NFL history. I mean, how do you not have an interception at all?
I know. It's just unfathomable.
And think about it. The first takeaway you got was a bad fumble overseas against the Denver Broncos. So your first takeaway wasn't even on home soil. This is a bad Jets team, I think, but here's what we have to realize. Is it a bad Jets team, or is it just the Jets? Or is this a bad version of just the Jets?
I think it's a bad version, but it's partly on Brady Cook. I mean, he had 3 interceptions.
Well, again, this is what we have to do. We can't put any
quarterback.
expectations.
The Jets never have a quarterback.
Correct. And you know, what's interesting is the Jaguars did a great job at stopping really their only threat on offense. Breece Hall. 12 carries, 23 yards. Their leading rusher, Isaiah Davis. He's the only one who scored a rushing touchdown. So, this offense is terrible. The defense is very, very lackluster. I thought Steve Wilkes was a very respectable coach. He clearly didn't do a good enough job. He, should have been fired. There had to have been a move to be made, and I think Steve Wilkes was the right move. But you have no quarterback. You're going up against the Jaguars, who, by the way, I'll give a lot of props. We were really questioning some of the moves the Jaguars made in the offseason, and the expectations that we had were very low. They've done a great job over the last 8 weeks to perform at a very, very high level. Trevor Lawrence, the past couple weeks, multi-touchdown games.
5 TDs.
Looking great.
Game.
6 total touchdowns as well, being their leading runner as well. So, hey, I got to give credit where credit's due. You did beat up on a bum team like the New York Jets, but you played at a very high level.
Jets had no sacks.
That's not, again, to be expected when you lose your best pass rusher. The Jets are a bad team. They're forever going to be in a rebuild, and offensively, you're forever going to need to find a quarterback. Now, do you trade with the Giants, do an intra-state, the only 2 New Jersey teams, technically, because they play in New Jersey? Are the Jets going to trade up for Mendoza to go get the number 1 quarterback at 1-1?
They should.
But here's my thing. You don't have any foundation. You don't have a foundation. Like, for instance, the Denver Broncos had a foundation.
At least you have something to build around. They have nothing to build around right now.
They got draft picks. They have a lot of draft picks.
Okay, so they need to use those to get some foundational players.
Yeah.
But they're a long way from being relevant, I think. I don't see them being relevant.
Well, the only reason they're relevant at all is for the first 2 words in their team name, New York. That's it. Because you live up to it. They're the worst team in the last decade. They have the most losses in the last 10 years. So they're just not a good NFL team whatsoever. All right, I want to make sure I get the graphic right. What's the
Cardinals and the who is it?
Cardinals and Texans. There we go.
Houston. Okay, so Stroud leads Texans to 6th straight win. That's big. My summary here: with a 20-point win over the hapless Cardinals, the Texans are on a roll with 6 wins in a row. And are they a Super Bowl contender? Let's take a poll. I say yes.
Wow.
I think they're a Super Bowl contender. They get with the best defenses in the league.
So you think that makes them a Super Bowl contender, having the best defense in the league? Just that.
Well,
you trust their offense?
No, the way their offense has been playing, I think they get into the playoffs at least, right?
Wow.
And then last year they won a playoff game. I need those back.
I know. I got to set up the graphic properly.
Okay.
No. Well, first of all, I'll say this: you beat up on the Arizona Cardinals, who are not a good team. We can admit that the Arizona Cardinals are not a good team. Are they unlucky? Sure. Is Jacoby Brissett an all-right quarterback? Still, yes. I think he could come in. He did put up 20 points in this one. Also 3 touchdowns. He's not a terrible quarterback. You just play for the Arizona Cardinals, who have no offensive line. Your running back that you brought back is currently on season-ending IR now. Sorry to Bam Knight. Your leading rusher was Michael Carter, who formerly played for, take a wild guess, we just talked about the team, the New York Jets a couple years ago. So, no, this team is not great. And you were down Marvin Harrison. Trey McBride is the only, flash in the pan you have. I mean, he's the only thing that you have going for you. You have nothing else. Your offensive line's not great. Your defense has been terrible over the last few weeks. You're not getting any turnovers or takeaways. I'll say this, the one reason why I don't know if the Texans are all that great is you had a practice squad guy in Jawar Jordan come up and be your leading runner. You also have a guy, Woody Marks, who can't not stay injured. You have Nick Chubb, who's not the Nick Chubb. So, I mean, there's a lot of pieces here. But, hey, C.J. Stroud.
22 of 29, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns.
No, and that is, if you can give C.J. Stroud some time, because if we remember, and some people pointed out, and we've spoken about it in the past, you give C.J. Stroud some time in the pocket, he could execute at a very, very high level. Last year, he was getting so beat up last year.
You didn't mention Jawar Jordan.
I just did, Jawar Jordan.
15 carries, 101 yards.
Yeah, but you can't trust a practice squad guy to put up 100-yard games consistently. That's my thing. He did in this one. I just don't think you can do that consistently.
Probably against the Cardinals, it wasn't.
Exactly. It's against the Cardinals, but still, though, he performed at a very, very high level, so you got to give props where props due.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one. This one is a lot of controversy for this one. A lot of defending again. Take it away.
Well, it's the Caleb Williams throws 2 TDs as the Bears pound the Browns. The Bears 31, the Browns 3. My takeaway on this game, the Bears blow out the Browns and continue to be on the winning track. All Browns fans have left to root for is to see Myles Garrett get one more sack.
That's for damn sure.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's his season.
Well, I'll say this. It's a really bad look, and it doesn't quiet any of the, the Shador conspiracy people to be like, well, Kevin Stefanski is sabotaging Shador. Yeah, it's not a great look when the first series or two, he has the wrong wristband on. That's not a good look whatsoever. But I will say this, and people are complaining about, well, one of the interceptions was a tip one and not his fault. Okay, what about the other 2? Like, we could be honest here. We could rip on Dylan Gabriel for not playing well. So can we please do the same thing for Shador Sanders if he doesn't play well?
Last week, Shador Sanders had 3 touchdown passes. This week, he had 3 interceptions.
But again, let's add some context.
He was sacked 5 times, too.
Let's add some context. They played the Tennessee Titans. And at the time, a 1-win team. And the only win came on 3 Stooges with the fumble, bumble, rumble all the way against the Arizona Cardinals. That's how the Titans beat them. They're technically, in my opinion, in my eyes, before they played the Browns, a 0-win team because they needed pure luck to win their first game.
You think the Bears are for real? 10-4. 10.
I would say they did a great job at neutralizing. I would say they did a great job at neutralizing Myles Garrett largely, and I would say that no, because they would probably need to go through Green Bay, but Green Bay's biggest threat is now out for the year. What are they going to do without Micah Parsons, who absolutely dominated the Chicago Bears in their matchup? So I think for right now, just based on context, I got to say the Bears are really something.
Yeah.
Are they a Super Bowl contender?
Probably not.
Possibly. Against the Rams, that would be a very, very good matchup, I think. What is Caleb Williams going to do against that Rams defense?
I would think the Rams would beat the Bears.
I would tend to agree with you, but it would be definitely something to think about. But no, I think we could admit. The Cleveland Browns, and also we have to admit this, kind of with the Jets. Is it just a really bad Jets team or just the New York Jets? What if this is just the Cleveland Browns? I don't think that would shock anybody. The Browns are a dysfunctional, poorly run franchise who gave a stupid contract to a guy with off-the-field issues and hasn't played well at all. And even the owner called out how bad of a decision that was. So can we just think about that it's not sabotage, that it's just the Cleveland Browns for 2 seconds?
Yeah, I would think that Stefanski should lose his job at the end of this year.
That is what people are saying. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Really? Why? He was horrible last year,
Was he a 2-time Coach of the Year?
Well, I don't know. I mean...
It's the Cleveland Browns.
Well, Belichick lost his job. And,
he went 4-13. Well, yeah, maybe,
look at this.
They have 3 wins.
They got 3 wins, 3-11. What was their record last year? About the same.
About the same. They were, I think they were technically the number 2 pick, but they traded back with the Jaguars.
I give the Bears, a lot of credit, and Ben Johnson for getting a running game going, right? Consistently. They have a good running game. Swift, 98 yards and 2 TDs in this game on 18 carries. And Monanga, 11 carries, 33 yards. I mean, they do have 142 yards overall. That's pretty good. I think they're.
Well, that is largely
if they could continue to run the ball that way, maybe they get deep into the playoffs.
Well, we have to remember, and this was one of the biggest reasons why I was a little bit higher on the Bears, was because what did they do immediately once Ben Johnson got there? Reinforced the interior of their offensive line. Drew Dahlman at center. Then you got Jonah Jackson at guard. Then you get Joe Tooney from the Chiefs at guard. So you rebuilt the interior of the offensive line, which helps out DeAndre Swift massively. And now we're seeing what DeAndre Swift was this year compared to last year, one of the most ineffective running backs in the league. Plus Monangai having, 150-yard running game. And in this one, just being, effective runner. It didn't have a massive impact, but just being that option 2 that they could use. And in some cases, while Swift was out, option 1 and excelling at a high level. Caleb Williams is playing, not within the system. And if things break down and all of a sudden he can't make superhero plays like the touchdown pass to DJ Moore, it looked like an optical illusion. It was in between 2 Browns defenders and he somehow caught it for the touchdown. So he can make some incredible off script, rolling out to his left or right, making some crazy throws. We have to realize early in the season when he would play off script, Ben Johnson was ripping his hair out. And so he's heard some comments and him praising Tyson Bagent on his fundamentals and not praising Caleb Williams. So is that relationship growing over time with, his ability to make these crazy plays? Potentially. But I think when it comes down to it, what we saw in Green Bay is when you pressure Caleb Williams a lot, keep him off balance and make him throw really, really bad throws, who won that game? Green Bay Packers. Yeah. Caleb Williams was like, 1 of 6 at one point? Didn't look that great. So
I think Ben Johnson's figured it out for the Bears. Emphasize the run. Have Caleb Williams play with it himself. Not be out there running all over the field and trying to make a big play on a broken play. I think it's working.
I would agree with that. Yeah. All right, let's go with the next one, which this one bothered me. Commanders at Giants. What's your takeaway?
Commanders stopped their 8-game losing streak versus the Giants. My takeaway, the Commanders beat the Giants in a meaningless game. The Giants' interim head coach, Kafka, can't seem to win and will likely get most of the blame.
Well, he should. 100% he should. Jackson Dart did not play well in the first half. Marcus Mariota came out there, and this offense operated at a high level. The defense of Washington, which is one of the worst in the league, really did a great job in the first half against the Giants, only holding them to 7 points. Jackson Dart looked pretty bad, and look where he ended up again, in the blue tent, again after a tough hit. So that's where he's going to, eat, sleep, and breathe at this point. I do think the greatest thing to come out of this game, besides the Commanders' win, is the announcement that Jaden Daniels is shut down for the year. Because, again, you put him out there for one game, he doesn't play well, and ends up getting hurt again. So I think this is the best course of action
done
for the
anyway.
100%.
They should just protect him, let him heal up, try again next year.
I would say for the Giants, offensive line, you need some work. I know I have some friends who really like a couple of the Giants' offensive linemen. It's not a good offensive line. Defensive line, lackluster performance all around. You should be doing significantly better besides Brian Burns, who has 13 sacks throughout the season. The secondary is terrible, and that's the thing that I've been talking about for the last 2 seasons. Secondary's not any good. You spent a bunch of money on a couple secondary guys like Paulson Adebo, who's been on and off injured and just not playing well. You've drafted Tyler Nubin, who's been a disgrace. Cordell Flott's not really that good. And you have Cordy Black, who I believe is one of the only, defensive backs, qualified defensive backs, who's given up a perfect passer rating. So the Giants secondary is not good, and Andrew Phillips isn't even that good.
Yeah.
So they got to figure something out on defense.
They got a long way to go. They're going to have a new head coach, and they start over again, starting over again.
Right. So I mean that is basically what the New York Giants have done since Eli Manning left. Because think about the amount of quarterbacks they've had. I think a lot of people, if you're not a Giants fan, you forget a lot of the really bad quarterbacks they've had.
Yeah.
So like Mike Glennon was one of them. I can't even, off the top of my head, think about all the quarterbacks. There was someone from, I think, Tennessee that they had at one point. I mean, they've had some really, really bad quarterbacks since Eli Manning left. Now, Jackson Dart, I still think is their guy for the future. I think he puts a big spark into that Giants organization. Just the defense has cost them. I said this earlier. The Giants, if they just held on to their fourth quarter leads and the defense didn't give up 20-plus, 30-plus points in the fourth quarter, this is like a team that has probably 7 wins right now.
Well, it didn't happen.
Right, it didn't happen. So that's why they have 2 and still hold the number 1 overall pick in the New York draft, in the NFL draft. So, all right, let's go to the next one here. The next one, which is the Raiders at the Eagles.
And the Eagles. Jalen Hurts rebounds with 3 TDs and a shutout win. My summary on this one: the Eagles rebound and for at least 1 week eliminate the fans' fear. The Raiders are a mess. Will Pete Carroll be fired at the end of this year?
I think that's a legitimately good question, because I think that we have to look at the performance of the Las Vegas Raiders plus the expectation. The Raiders fans went into this year thinking, okay, we had Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo over the last few years. Things can't get much worse. Present Geno Smith, who led the league in interceptions, then is banged up. Then you have Kenny Pickett out there slinging the football, threw 64 yards on 15 completions.
Yeah.
He threw it nearly 30 times for 64 yards. He did have 1 interception, a solid passer, a solid QBR of 6.2. 6.2, which is a touch worse than Shedeur Sanders' 8.
That's pretty good for the Raiders.
Only 1. Again, Ashton Jeanty, I mean, you were down so much early on, it didn't matter. Ashton Jeanty, not that effective in this game, but again, you only ran it 9 times, so I'm not going to, be like, oh, he's such a bad, runner. This team is terrible. There was a lot of smoke around this team. What are they going to do? New team. You bring in a solid quarterback, solidified quarterback who's consistent. Well, this year he's been consistently poor. Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winning coach. He's looked all 73, 74 years of age. He spent a bunch of money, and this is actually partially Tom Brady's fault. I think Chip Kelly was the highest paid offense coordinator in the league this year, and he didn't even last the full season because the offense was so bad. So the running game's non-existent. The defense only has Max Crosby. It's not that great all around. The offensive line isn't that great. Pete Carroll couldn't figure out what version of his offensive line he wanted. He moved Jackson Powers-Johnson out of center to guard, which he doesn't normally play. He didn't perform all that great this year. The running game has been lackluster. Brock Bowers early on was all banged up. You had Trey Tucker as your wide receiver 1 for the longest time. This is not a good NFL team. Now, they do have 2 shutout losses this year, which is not great. Out of the 7 or 8 shutouts all year. So having that is not good for you if you're trying to be this team that's, moving on up. I will say for the Philadelphia Eagles, what happened with A.J. Brown? 2 catches, 40 yards. He did get a touchdown.
He'll be talking about it.
But I will say this. What happened? He didn't get 100 yards and a touchdown. He got 41 yards and a touchdown. And lo and behold, they win 31-0. So I'm telling you, a lot of people realize it. It's tough to admit just because he's a superstar wide receiver. But if you have A.J. Brown going 100-plus yards and a touchdown in a game, you look at the wins and losses this year. A lot more losses when A.J. Brown has a truly dominant game.
Barkley had a decent game.
Yeah, no, Barkley had all right game. He had a couple big-time runs in that, but it's obviously this is not the Saquon Barkley that we saw last year. And also the offensive line, being banged up with Lane Johnson missing significant amounts of time. And also you lost Jalen Carter in this game. Didn't matter, though, because you're playing what I still call half an NFL franchise. The Titans are still not one. So it was a tough watch, but the Eagles, you can at least breathe a sigh of relief that you blew out a team like the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, let's go to the next one here, which is the Colts at the Seahawks. Phillip Rivers return game. What's your takeaway for this one?
I watched this game, and I felt bad that the Colts lost the game. Phillip Rivers comeback spoiled by Seahawks game-winning field goal. My summary here, Grandpa Rivers was pretty good and almost pulled out a win. For the Seahawks, with 6 field goals and no touchdowns, the 3-point margin of victory was razor thin. And it says something about the Seahawks here. I mean, they have a great record, but, in these games like this, they playing against a 44-year-old quarterback who hadn't played in 5 years, had like 3 days to prepare for the game. I gave Phillip Rivers a lot of credit. I mean, he had a touchdown pass in this game. The Seahawks didn't even have a touchdown. So I felt bad for Rivers.
I'll say this. His throws were going about 25 miles an hour. They were sitting ducks out there. Yeah. But I will say, Phillip Rivers' QBR, he had a higher QBR than Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa. and he had only a .1 lower than quote-unquote top 10, some people say top 5 quarterback, Justin Herbert on one hand.
Yeah.
So I think Phillip Rivers shocked a lot of people.
Well, he knew what he was doing out there. As Brady says, 80% of playing quarterback is from the neck up.
Right.
And Rivers knew what he was doing. He knew what his limitations were. He wasn't trying to heave the ball down the field. When he did, at the end, he got an interception.
Well, there was also one that went through the defender's hands as well.
He had to do that. So we'll see. I mean, there's still some games left. The Colts aren't totally out of it yet.
He's going to be the starting quarterback next year as well. Or next week.
I think he should be. And I bet he'll play even better. So, and the rest of the team played great.
The defense was shockingly
And how
phenomenal.
about the field goal kicker? He had a 60-yard field goal.
Yeah, that was his career long by over 3 yards.
Yeah.
So
they were pumped up for Rivers.
Oh, I would 100%
and,
agree.
I'd love to see him win a few games with him.
Reality is, though, you go up against a defense, and now you know his balls go about 20 miles an hour and not 60 like, a 25-year-old quarterback. Oh, yeah, people are going to be absolutely jumping on that. Phillip Rivers also, in that uniform, he didn't look that out of shape in practice. Oh, he looked big in the game. He looked very, very chunky.
Yeah.
So, in the best shape.
I'm surprised he didn't
not.
pull a hamstring or.
Well, early on he got hit. He got hit to the ground. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, hey, Phillip Rivers out there nearly beating and leading for a lot of the game against the Seattle Seahawks team that is vying for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, right.
Who has an opportunity in this
Which makes me wonder about the Seahawks a little bit.
It does. It does. Sam Darnold.
Mostly their offense. Their defense, there's no problem there.
Well, think about this. Sam Darnold had a lower QBR than Phillip Rivers did. Scale 0 to 100. Yeah. So I give a lot of
no touchdowns.
And also, this was a game very close with Jonathan Taylor not rushing for 100 yards, which is incredibly rare for the Indianapolis Colts. So I give a lot of credit where credit's due. Good job to Phillip Rivers. Someone in our comments was not happy with our commentary about how Phillip Rivers is, what were the expectations? Someone was not very happy that we were expecting the Seahawks to blow them out. And while they were right, the Seahawks didn't.
No. I said that the Colts would at least cover.
Right, but that was a 13.5 points. But we did not expect this game to be this close.
No, I didn't.
So
I didn't expect
that
the Seahawks wouldn't score a touchdown.
Right. I agree with that. All right, let's go to the next one, which should be the Green Bay Packers.
Oh yes,
at the
Bo
Denver
Nix
Broncos.
those 4 TD passes and win over the Packers. And in this game against the Broncos, most people thought the Packers would carry the day. But with 4 TD passes and a win, Bo Nix showed he was the one who came to play.
Yeah. Big time.
He had a great game.
Phenomenal game. I mean, we're talking about a guy who deep ball accuracy hasn't been all that great. He's made a couple tremendous throws throughout the year, but the deep ball accuracy has been largely what he's kind of failed at. And early in the year, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn on his deep throws. This game, he had 4 completions for 105 yards, 2 touchdowns with 4 big-time plays. Big-time throws, excuse me. So, Bo Nix, this might have been the best game he's individually played up against that level of competition. Because the Green Bay Packers, we look at them as a Super Bowl before Micah Parsons' injury. I don't know how people are looking at him now after Micah went down. But going into this game, they were favored on the road in Denver, with Denver having the better record and the number 1 seed in the AFC. Green Bay was favored. And then Bo Nix played what probably is the best game he's ever played as a pro so far. I mean, deep ball accuracy was spot on. A couple touchdowns there, like I mentioned. Intermediate throws were really good. Moving the ball around at a high level and going up against that level of competition and not being scared on the run. That's really where he shines. On the run throws, kind of like Caleb Williams. So I think Bo Nix played a tremendous game. The Green Bay Packers, this is another one of their, you could have won this game, but I thought that Jordan Love was under so much duress. The offensive line didn't hold up. And now losing Micah Parsons, and you lost Christian Watson in this game with a shoulder injury. You already lost Kenny Clark in that trade you got to go get Micah Parsons. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do the rest of the year. But I think that with Mike out, with Christian Watson probably going to miss some time, this is where the Bears could overtake them, take the NFC North, and figure out where they are when it comes to, increasing their gap and maybe making a deep playoff run. But no, this is a tough loss in more ways than one for the Green Bay Packers. Minus just the score.
Yeah,
they lost their number 1 guy
through 2 interceptions.
He wasn't all that great this game. But I will say that losing your number 1 player, the one that you just spent $47.5 million on, that's the biggest loss you could possibly have.
That hurts their chances of getting to the Super Bowl.
Oh, 100% it does. All right, let's go with the next one, which is indeed an interesting one, a comeback story, I would say. Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers in the annihilation of Cam Ward's Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, well, Purdy throws 3 TDs and went over the Titans. Brock Purdy played well and won against the crummy Titans team. His 3 TD performance may not be all that it seemed. I mean, he plays well against these teams that aren't that great. I think there's still question marks in my mind about him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bit of a hot take, but I would tend to agree with you. Again, let's add context to it. We do have to realize that late in this game, I know the point spread was 12.5, but this game got as close as, 7 points at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think you look at this one, the 49ers played very good, through large stretches of this game, and obviously they won by 13, so I did cover in the Harvey hot hand for this game, but no, I think Brock Purdy played perfectly fine, just under 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, but again, it's against the non-NFL team, in my opinion, of the Tennessee Titans. So, again, great win, nice moral victory. You kicked the guy when he was down like the Titans do. The Titans are. I mean, they lost their head coach. Their quarterback is terrible. They have no running game, but in this one, Tony Pollard had a great game.
I don't think their quarterback is terrible. I think
Cam Ward has been garbage.
He's playing with a cast that has no wide receiver core.
Gunnar Helm was the number one receiver.
Yeah, right.
Gunnar Helm.
Yeah, he
Van Jefferson had
4
one
catches
catch
for 49 yards. I mean, Ward didn't throw any interceptions in this game.
Which
right?
He's improving in that
2
regard.
TD passes.
No, he's improving in that regard because he couldn't stop turning the ball over through the first 8 weeks of the season, and one of which he actually did this a couple of times. He would throw it and the ball would go backwards. I don't know how you do that as a quarterback. You throw the ball forwards and it somehow goes backwards.
Well, he'll still get a chance next year.
I mean, obviously, he's the number 1 overall pick. He should. So, I think that it was a great win for the 49ers, but let's be honest for 2 seconds. It's against a terrible team in the Tennessee Titans. So
okay, moving right along here.
Let's go.
And this is one that I should have known that the Saints are going to win this game. The Panthers blow a chance to lead the NFC South with loss. Panthers had a chance to claim first place in the AFC South with a win against the Saints, who have been mostly a joke. Just goes to show you, when they have big opportunities, the Panthers usually choke.
Yeah, no. I mean, what we've seen over the course of this series this year between these two teams is Bryce Young does not play very well. The offense doesn't really do too much. They limit the running game, the Saints do. They limit the Panthers' running game at a pretty high level. And lo and behold, Tyler Shuck, another big-time win. Hey, yeah. you were a little critical on Tyler Shuck's first start. I had to remind you. It's against the Rams. We got to give a little bit of breathing room here.
He's played okay.
He's played very well, especially on the Saints don't have a lot of talent, but Chris Olave is pretty good. So, I mean, they have Devon Vele, a really integral piece of that, decently deep Broncos wide receiver core last year. He comes over to the Saints and he has a couple really, really good games this year. You're down Alvin Kamara already, and you're able to perform at a decently high level.
Shuck was their leading rusher for 32 yards.
He
had no running game. How could the Panthers lose this game?
Because they also
didn't
have
lose it. They lost to the Saints earlier in the season as
correct.
well.
That was Tyler Shuck's first start. He was cooking them. They won 17-7 in that game.
I mean, Rico Dowdle couldn't run. Bryce Young he was the leading rusher with 49 yards. He only passed Young for 163 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't ready to play this game. They should have beat the Saints. If you're going to go to the playoffs, guys, you got to beat a team like the Saints.
Well, I was about to say, maybe they got into their heads a little bit. Oh, we're first in the division. We got to win this game. And then next week, we could seal the division up. And
they were thinking ahead.
You overlooked the team that you should have beaten. Actually, this was the most important matchup for you if you are the the Carolina Panthers, because you needed to beat them, and then you only need one more win, and the division's yours. Now you have to sweep the Bucs. Good luck with that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Or somehow beat the Seahawks.
Not after that tirade by Bowles.
Oh, no,
I think that is going to have
I'm going to look for the point spread before the show's over. I want to know what that point spread is.
That shows the players, look, you don't play for me, man, you're going to be gone.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. Because, again, that wasn't Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles has done a great job. Since, Tom Brady left, playoff.
He's generally a soft-spoken guy, but, man,
that was shocking to see that.
He unloaded.
Absolutely.
And that was the right thing to do, I think.
I agree with that. Let's go with the next one here, which is the Lions at the Rams here.
Stafford rallies the Rams past the Lions. Detroit always wins when they lead by 10 points at the end of the first half. But by the end of the game, it was Stafford and the Rams who had the last laugh.
I mean, this is what happens. You look at the game, and all of a sudden, the Lions have it in Rams territory, quick one-play touchdown. That's how the game starts, basically. So I think that the way that the Lions played early, I mean, they were incredibly dominant. And then the Rams finally went back to being the Rams, and the Lions went back to being what the Lions were this season. A relatively good, but largely average team that when they get down and out, and especially against a great team like the Los Angeles Rams, they can't exactly pull out big-time victories like they would have.
I think it's the Detroit's defense this year.
Oh, big
I
time.
mean, their offense is fine. Look at Goff, 338 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the running game didn't do much in this one, right? Only 70 yards between Sonic and Knuckles. But I'm on St. Brown back from his injury, 13 receptions, 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Williams, 7 receptions, 134 yards and a touchdown. Their passing game is great. They have a great offense.
Right.
But it's just the defense this year. And against Stafford, I guess you could understand it. I mean, he has two of the best wide receivers in the league, and Nakua, 9 receptions, 181 yards, and Stafford, 368 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tough to beat.
We have to realize that here's the big thing, though. Devontae Adams re-aggravated his injury that he had earlier this year, so he's probably going to be missing some time. But I don't think that really matters that much because you still have Puka Nacua, who's fighting for the Offensive Player of the Year this year and being an extremely high effective player. So I think the Rams are going to be just fine. This week is a big week, a massive week, going against the Seahawks, who have looked very, very shaky as of late. They blew out the Cardinals, sure, but look at some of their recent games. They nearly lost to 44-year-old Phillip Rivers in his first start in 5 years. While he was
at home,
when he was throwing 20-mile-an-hour,
wounded ducks,
eephus pitches.
Wounded ducks.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really bad just to see the fact that the Colts were winning through large parts of that game. And then you're going up against the Los Angeles Rams, who went up against, which, by the way, since Dan Campbell started calling plays, the Lions have the best passing offense in the NFL. So Dan Campbell can call plays. He just has a banged-up defense that has no Brian Branch, no Terry and Arnold. You're banged up in the interior defensive line. The secondary is battered and bruised. They got nobody on defense. It's like last year. They couldn't overcome the injuries.
What's their record now? 8-6, right?
They are 8-6 currently.
Probably not going to make the playoffs this year. I feel bad about that.
It would be tough if they somehow, I don't think. I agree. They're probably going to miss the playoffs. But again,
Friday we got to look at that.
First of all,
look at the playoffs. Situation.
Nobody named Dan Campbell should even be close to the hot seat. The Lions have become a legitimate, respectable franchise after being the joke of the NFL for years. When they had Megatron and Matt Stafford and all these guys who are high talented players, and they kept having losing season after losing season, not winning playoff games. They made the NFC Championship, were up by 17 heading into the second half against the 49ers, that close to a Super Bowl. Nobody should all get hot seat for Dan Campbell. I don't care about fourth down goes. He's actually being a little bit smarter with that. He hasn't been going for it that much after going 0-7 the last time he, did it at a high level. So I think we need to chill on that. All right, let's go with the next one here, which is pretty crazy. Sunday Night Football. Wow. Vikings at the Cowboys. What's your headline for this one?
Cowboys play hopes evaporate and lost to Vikings.
How somber.
With the loss to the Vikings, the Cowboys' playoff hopes are all but gone. When the postseason comes along, Dak Prescott will be home mowing his lawn.
I think we got to play some funeral music. Yeah, all the hype's gone. All the hype's gone. The pass rush was non-existent. J.J. McCarthy took a grand total of 0 sacks. Dak Prescott took 2. And he, 300 yards, no passing touchdowns. The running game was all right, not all that great, sub 5 yards a carry. But here's what I'll say. No, the defense did its job on the Vikings side. Making it, not easy for the Cowboys offense that's been explosive to do anything that effective. Yes, they did 2 rushing touchdowns, but they limited Dak Prescott where they could. He had a sub 85 passer rating in this game.
No touchdowns.
No touchdowns. I think here's what I'm saying, though. J.J. McCarthy, this was, again.
He's playing better. He played okay.
We have to be honest about this, though. We looked at the Cowboys' defense early in the year and said, this is the worst passing defense I've ever seen in my life. Then they got some of the guys healthy, and Logan Wilson, and they got Quinnen Williams. Then the pass rush got a little bit better. So it masked the deficiencies of that secondary. What happens when you can't get a pass rush? Secondary went back to being terrible. J.J. McCarthy had an 85.6 passer rating with only 1 interception and looked like a really, really good quarterback. Again, is this J.J. McCarthy is growing, or is it the fact that he played against arguably one of the worst secondaries in the 21st century?
Well, I think that
'Cause they had no running game.
I think that someone's going to have to pay for this terrible performance by the Cowboys when they were thought to be a better team than this, and I think it'll be Eberflus. I think he's gone.
The fact
I think
that
they
he
should
does a
get rid of
job.
him. I think they should fire him.
I mean, think about what the Bears
gonna get
defense
rid of
looked
him.
like. The Chicago Bears fans last year were ripping on how bad the Bears defense was. Now he's over on the Cowboys, and lo and behold, the Cowboys have a god-awful defense. All right, finally, Monday Night Football last night. What a game it was. Dolphins, Steelers. What's your takeaway and headline for this game?
The Steelers freeze out the Dolphins to stay atop the AFC North. We know how poorly the Dolphins play in the cold. The Dolphins lose, as expected, in the Pittsburgh cold weather. The Steelers look good, and Aaron Rodgers continues to play better. I thought Aaron Rodgers played great in this game. He's throwing darts out there. I thought his passing is quite good. I was pretty impressed with him. The one thing I don't understand, maybe you can help me with this.
Sure, I'll try my best.
They're running like kind of a tush-push play. But why do they leave Aaron Rodgers in there? He just stands back there doing nothing. They could put another blocker in there at least.
I agree.
They know it's going to be a tush-push.
Right.
So why not put another guy in the back to push the guy? All Aaron Rodgers is useless out there. Why are they bothering with him out there? Because they should take him out of the game and put in somebody else that can help push the guy over to the first down.
I don't disagree with that. I would also say that what would be interesting is...
he liked it. He was standing back there. He puts his hands up.
Yeah, he's just chilling there, sitting like this, just waiting for the play to go down.
chilling out, you know?
I will say, though, what's interesting is that they're opting to use a 230-pound tight end. Why not use your left tackle, basically, Washington, who weighs as much as, a convertible car, I would say. At 264, the dude could play guard, maybe, a very light guard or a pass rusher, and have him do the tush push. No one can tackle him. You look him at, he looks like Derrick Henry out there, but significantly bigger because he's 6'7", 264. So I mean, I would use him maybe in a tush push, but they use Hayward, who's 230 pounds based on ESPN. I mean, he did the job. He was able to actually run up the middle and get the touchdown. They also used Jonnu Smith for a big time run, 14-yard carry that also got a rushing touchdown. Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, their two running backs. Well, Kenneth Gainwell had a good running game. No touchdowns from either of them because they used their tight ends to bring it in.
The Steelers stopped the Dolphins' running game, and that's the way to beat them because Tua does not do a whole lot in the cold.
What I found fascinating was
actually he threw for 253 yards, though.
And he went 22 of 28. But here's what's interesting. Mike McDaniel said when he was asked about whether or not he considered benching Tua, after this game, he goes, everything is on the table. I don't think
why would he bench him after this game?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Probably one of his better games of the year.
For once throughout this NFL season,
is the problem in this game. He only had 12 carries for 60 yards.
That's 5 yards a carry, but I just think the offense wasn't.
But only 12 carries. So
yeah, but he had 127 total yards. He was everything for this. I think that Tua is not a great quarterback. But it also falls on Mike McDaniel.
Not a $50 million a year quarterback.
Oh, I completely agree. 100% agree with that.
And he gave him that big contract. He's played like crap since.
I agree. We're talking about season-wise. He's not, the Dolphins are not making the playoffs anytime soon. This was a nice little winning streak, a nice little run they went on, but it has to come to an end.
Who do the Dolphins have left?
The Dolphins, after this week against the Steelers, they go versus Bengals, versus Bucks, at Patriots. I don't know what your take is on that. They're 6-8 currently.
I think the Patriots probably may not have anything to play for.
One seed's still up for grabs, technically.
Yeah, but how many games do they have to win?
You need the Broncos to lose 2 games
to be the 1 seed. But to prevent the Bills from,
I think you just need the win.
Just need 1 win.
I believe so.
Yeah, so they'll get that against the Jets, right?
They always do. So I think that's a given. It's just about so here's the thing. They're 6-8 right now, 3 games remaining. Do the Dolphins lose out? Bengals, Bucks,
I'd say
Patriots.
The Dolphins have to win 2 of their last 3 in order for McDaniel to keep his job.
Wow.
Right? That would give them an 8.
Stephen Ross is high on him, though. He's like, we're really going to trust this process with Mike McDaniel.
I don't know. What's their record now? The Dolphins 6-8. So they would be.
If they win 2 more, 8-9.
In 8-9, that's not a bad season, but they started out so horribly.
Yeah.
I mean, they were dead men walking here by week 7.
Yeah.
And
That's what you said.
they've resurrected themselves, but the teams they played, I don't know. I mean, I think McDaniel, I don't think he's going to lose his job.
That's fair. Stephen Ross is very, very high on Mike McDaniel. He really believes in him as a head coach. He's this offensive guru from San Francisco.
Yeah, well,
offensive guru that can't make Tua Tagovailoa work.
Yeah, well, Tua's had seasons where he was good enough to get himself a $50 million a year contract.
They were stuck though. The market was as dry as could be. You had no draft capital.
No, but he played well.
All of it to get Tyreek Hill.
He played well though.
Right, but what I'm saying is that when you look at the other options, you moved heaven and earth to go get Tyreek Hill. You had traded 5 first-round picks to go out and get him. So that's killing your future draft capital. Then you have Tua Tagovailoa. You see him make a playoff, and he gets absolutely frozen against Kansas City Chiefs. Who's out there that you could pluck? Who's out there who you could draft? Nobody. So you were stuck with him. You had to pay him. It's kind of like Brock Purdy a little bit. Although what we saw with Mac Jones is he could operate that offense at a decently high level. And actually, he's a primary reason why even the 49ers are competing for the number 1 seed in the NFC. Because he was able to actually win a number of games and look pretty damn good, wearing the 49ers gold and red. So, I mean, yeah, it's these offensive gurus. Can we just wait for the resume to come in a little bit for us to call them offensive gurus?
I think the resume, McDaniel's resume, is a long one now. I mean, he's been with the Dolphins for quite a few years now.
Right. And on the Dolphins, he hasn't exactly been this offensive guru.
He's done better lately, and he's doing it with not many players. I mean, they need to get some more players.
Yes, and I will say,
right? I mean, Tyreek Hill, is he coming back to them? I don't know.
He's gone.
You think he's gone?
I made that prediction after week 1.
Maybe they'd be wise to trade him. Why not? That's probably a good idea. Trade him.
He ripped the team last year in the offseason.
He's not a team player. They should trade him. They could get rid of him.
I didn't get a decent amount.
And they couldn't get anything for Tua, so they're going to be stuck with him. They just need to do what they've been doing, get the running game going, so you don't depend on Tua so much.
I completely agree. All right, that wraps up today's show. We got over an hour long for that one. Weekly recap. Week 15 is in the books. I do want to get your quick thought on it, just for show sake and record keeping for this one. Thursday night football is a massive one because we're talking about let's see, can I get it up quickly or do I have to actually search for it? I'm going to have to search for it. Week 16, Thursday night football. It's the big one, the massive one.
Who is it?
Rams Seahawks.
Oh, wow.
Rams at the Seahawks here. We're talking about a point spread of, if I can get it quickly, 1.5 in favor of the Rams on the road.
Yeah.
Who do you have? Who covers?
Rams. And 1 is so small, 1.5.
It's basically a pick 'em game at that point. Yeah.
I'd say the Rams cover 1.5. Pretty hard to, win by less than 2.
Here's what's difficult about that. Sam Darnold threw 4 picks and nearly beat him last time. What, he won 21-23, I think that game was.
I mean, the reason I'm not picking the Seahawks is the way they played against the Colts.
Yeah, I can't do it. I was really high on Seattle, a couple Tuesdays ago when we said who's the best team in the NFC. They haven't figured out that offense yet. It hasn't gone back to where it was with JSN putting up 160-yard games anymore.
Yeah, where's he been lately?
I'll take the Rams as well. I'll take the Rams to win and cover.
I just don't see the Rams losing first place in their.
They're playing at too high of a level.
Their division with the team that they've got and the way they've been playing, and given the way Darnold plays in these big games, still hasn't proven himself, particularly against the Rams, where he usually gets cooked. 4 interceptions last time, and getting annihilated in the playoff game last year when he was the Vikings quarterback. So I don't know. Seattle's a tough place to play. Their fans are crazy, and their stadium's built in a way that keeps the sound in.
Right.
And it's very hard for the opposing team. But the Rams, to me, are the Super Bowl team this year. I'm picking them to be in the Super Bowl now.
Here's what's interesting. I want to get your quick opinion on this, and then we'll wrap up the show. As it currently stands at 7:48 p.m. on Tuesday, December 16th. By the way, there's 2 Saturday games, so that'll be fun to watch. The Packers at the Bears. Guess the point spread.
Packers at Bears?
Packers at Bears.
I bet they're saying the Packers are the
Packers are the play, apparently. The Packers are 1.5-point favorites on the road. You just lost your best pass rusher, who was the difference maker the last time you played. Your deep threat is what? He has a shoulder injury. And you're telling me they're favored? I may have to pick Chicago in that game.
They just lost. They just lost this past week.
And they lost to Bo Nix.
Yeah. Well, I picked the Broncos to win that game.
You did. And that was absolutely the right play, obviously. I may pick the Bears in this one. Because I
have to think about
the
that.
X Factor who really disrupted.
That's on Saturday?
That's on Saturday night, 8:20 on Fox. There's 2 games.
We're going to be watching football from Thursday till Monday.
We'll just wait till Christmas. Wasn't there like a Wednesday game, Thursday game,
It's too bad.
Friday
That game,
game?
one of those games is the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be what are we watching that one for? Gardner Minshew and out there. The Chiefs are out of the playoffs.
It's against the Broncos.
Yeah, they're gonna. That's gonna be.
Guess the
tough.
point spread.
For that one.
Yeah. Wow. Broncos on the road. Wow. I'm shocked. Guess the point spread.
Against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I would say it's 10.
5.5.
That's all.
I'm securing that 2 weeks in advance. Give me Broncos minus 5.5. If I could bet that now, I'm betting it.
It must have been before Mahomes got hurt.
Well, no, these are live odds. Give me Broncos minus 5. I'm doing this 2 weeks in advance. Harvey Hothand. Where's the? I don't have the sound button. Broncos at Chiefs. Give me Broncos minus 5.5. I'm taking that all day. Are you kidding me? They don't have a quarterback.
We've seen some of Gardner
Or a
Minshew's.
tight end.
We've seen some of his performances.
He threw the
out there.
game-sealing interception. Was it 2 plays after Mahomes went down?
Yeah. No,
wow.
more than that. He had three completions, and then he threw the interception.
I'm stunned. 5.5. That's it. 5.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow. All right. Well, that'll wrap up today's show. We're getting 2 weeks ahead already. We still have Week 16 to pick. We'll pick that.
Go Rams.
Yeah, we'll cover that on Friday's show, as well as make our Week 16 picks, as always. You're beating me. You gained even more ground on me. I think I have 8 games to cover now.
What was your record this
I went
past week?
8-9 win-loss. Point spread, I think I went 6-10, 7-9.
How about the hot
I'll have to
hand?
check. I haven't done the Harvey hot hand yet. I think we have another winning record. I have to look back. I'll update
No,
you.
3-2 is not bad.
3-2, 60%.
Yeah.
So we're building here. I need more 4-1s. That we got to make more money. We're making money. Just we have to make a little bit more money. So we already have 2 weeks in advance what a Harvey hot hand pick will be. Broncos
We'll
minus
remember
5.5.
that one.
Yeah, big time. All right, but for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We have been your hosts of the Harvey Hour. You can catch us Friday covering all of Week 16, breaking down the biggest games and covering one of the biggest games of the NFL season, Rams-Seahawks for the NFC West. We'll break down that game on Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
That, Grandpa.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a